A Shy Going Boy is a piece that I've written about my grandfather, Joe Guilfoyle. I knew him when I was a kid, up to about the age of 13. I think he died when I was 13 or 14. And I remember him as a very genial, dignified, funny old man, very witty person. And I knew from my family history that he'd been involved in the 1916 rebellion, but didn't really realise the extent of his involvement with that. So, it being the year that it is, the 100th anniversary of the Rising, I decided that it would be a good time to research his life and to maybe write a piece of music about him. When I did start to research his life, I was really struck by the extraordinary extent to which he was involved in very significant aspects of the birth of the state. Not only the 1916 Rising, which he took part in as a volunteer at the age of 17, but also in the War of Independence, where he worked very closely with Michael Collins and became a member of the squad, and was with Collins over in London when they signed the treaty or negotiated the treaty with the English, and was also involved in very hair-raising activities during the War of Independence, like assassinations and almost being assassinated himself, blindfolded, and put on his knees with a gun to his head on one occasion. Extraordinary life. And later on he joined the army, he joined the Irish Army and rose to Lieutenant Colonel in that. And then in the emergency he was drafted back into intelligence again, and had a lot to do with keeping an eye on the various espionage activities of the different delegations that were in Dublin at the time, the Germans, British, etc., etc. He had an extraordinary life, one that was really wrapped up in and closely integrated with some of the most significant events in the birth of the Irish Republic. And I'm trying to, in this piece, trying to make sense in some way with the man I knew, my grandfather, as I said, a dignified and witty and quiet man, with the person who risked his life for what he believed in and was involved in some very significant activities and events that shaped the Irish nation. So this piece is an attempt to kind of wrestle with all of that, and I'll be using audio, including a very interesting talk that he gave on Irish radio about his time as a volunteer in the 1916 Rising. In this piece I'm delighted to be joined by some really fine musicians, all of whom I've worked with before in different capacities. On trumpet we have Nick Smart, great trumpet player from London, very good friend of mine and a wonderful musician, and really delighted to have him on board with this. Saxophones is Sam Comerford, a young musician who's really making his name for himself now in Ireland and abroad. Izumi Kimura on piano, a very versatile musician, great technical abilities, improvisational abilities, and really perfect for this music. Matt Jacobson on drums, a really versatile drummer who has played in many different situations and is a fantastic musician, band leader, and a very good interpreter of both written and improvised music. And my son Chris on guitar, whom of course I know very well, both personally and musically, and we've worked together many times now at this point, and he's a great musician. And of course he is a great grandson of Joe Guilfoyle, so it's really special for me to be doing that with Chris, and so myself, the grandson and great grandson of Joe, I think in this year, 100th anniversary of the 1916 Rising. I can't think of anything more apposite than that I could be doing with my musical life than being involved in this project.